Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge of the Brawler Cafe. We are on day number 6. We are covering the last of the main factions today. Just quickly before we get into it, Queso has already made a video on it and we've made a statement on the Brawler Cafe Twitter. But I just want to make a statement here quickly that don't buy that Armored Elite box on Amazon right now because they're sending out one pack because Spin Master are clowns who do not have a separate UPC for the booster box. So when the workers go to collect the order, they just grab the thing that's assigned to the UPC, which is a single booster pack. It's a mess. If you have already ordered, most people, like basically everyone, has had good luck with getting their refunds. They've been able to get their refunds, so you can probably get a refund yourself too. So go pursue that. Be careful. With that said, let's get into Ventus. So first up, action card, we have Ventus Stealth, 7 energy for minus 1000 B and minus 10 damage. Split stuff happening again, very much not worthwhile. Like, it's not even a case of, oh, these are two disparate battle influencing things. No, it's like one is used for stall and one is used for actually trying to win a battle. It's way too expensive and not at all worth that cost. Ventus Roar is 3 cost action plus 6 damage, and if you're in Trifecta, energize this uncharged, because the thing that Trifecta wants the most is to be a ramp deck. Yes. This card doesn't make any sense. Those are two different strategies, and like a ramp card that you can only use when you have all 3 of your Bakugan open, aka you've won 2 battles, is not good for the sort of slow playstyle that ramp naturally is. It's just overall not a very good card. Baku Bite is 4 cost for plus 9 damage. Just a high cost of damage booster, nothing of note. Windstorm, 0 cost, minus 100 B, and if you have 7 or more energy cards, minus 500 B instead. This is pretty solid if boost were ever to become viable enough, because it's a greater water boost that becomes a 0 cost nature's power. Just overall, like, solid if your deck is able to get boost with any amount of consistency. Entropic Touch, 4 cost to destroy all enemy Baku Gear cards. This is the only Baku Gear destruction in this format, so it has it's pretty solid for that. And we will later get single Baku Gear destruction next set. That'll only be cost of 2. So getting to pop the whole thing for 4 is pretty solid if you find yourself up against a deck that will be spamming a lot of Baku Gear. Such a deck isn't really super popular, but this is the sort of thing that would be perfect for a sideboard. It's a solid card. It's a solid card. Just doesn't really. It's just a bit too situational for most decks right now, but or in any future format that we currently know any cards about. But it certainly has a very relevant application, is the point. Ventus Fort, this is the last of this Victor cycle. This one is energize the top 2 cards of your deck uncharged, which is pretty okay. But again, a ramp deck is not a deck that's going, in the early game, a ramp deck, like when a ramp deck is doing its ramping, it's doing that at a tempo loss. It's doing that accepting that it's probably going to lose most of its battles. And its focus is on the ramping itself. So ramping that comes as a result of a victory effect, when you already had to spend 2 energy to get this going anyways, is just not very good. It's just not what you want. Ultrasonic Speed, 3 cost, draw a card, you may energize a card in your hand uncharged. This is just worse, like, turn to energy for 1 more cost. Like, it's just really bad. It's really bad. Like you're taking the same deficit of cards, but you have to choose another card that isn't this ramp card to energize. Like, it's just not very good. Ventus Stink is 3 cost for minus 600 B. It's on par, but that's all it is. It's nothing good enough to go into any deck. Natural Defenses is the flip for Ventus in this set. It stops Darkers or Pyrus and then energizes itself uncharged. A flip that costs 3 to energize itself uncharged, because the stop effect is too narrow to really be considered for that, is not worthwhile at all. So hard pass on this. And then we have the only notable flip hero in the whole set. So, Well Practiced is a 5-cost flip hero. Stop non-Ventus and put this into play. That part is just as bad as every other flip hero, but its effect once it's a hero is actually fairly notable. So it's when your Bakugan opens, each player reveals the top card of their deck. If yours costs more, plus 500 B. So it's an on-open effect that can give you B power. Now, unfortunately for this card, we would later find out via an epic character card that this would be attached to a Bakugan as its own effect. So that dampens the potential fun viability, rogue deck viability of this card very, very significantly. But this card is still pretty cool. It's by far the most impressive of any of the flip heroes. So if you were going to run any of them, it would be this one. I would still not count this among notable cards, especially considering that epic character card that will be coming out in Fusion Force. But of the flip heroes, it's definitely the most impressive one. Winston the Hungry. This is 1 cost with the trifecta effect to give your Bakugan attacks plus 3 damage and Shadow Strike. That effect isn't super notable. It stops you from being impacted by damage reduction, but basically no one runs that anyway, so that doesn't really matter. What is cool about this card though is that it's a 1-cost Winton, which doesn't apply to Maximus. We have not re-entered that ruling, but it does still apply to Titan Trunks Ultra. So if you're building around that deck and that Bakugan, then this gets you your necessary hero for just 1 instead of 4, which is much better. Much better. Still probably doesn't stand up to current stuff, but it is notable. It is definitely notable for that. On to the Baku Gear. Ventus Smashers, 2 cost plus 200 B, 0 damage. This is basically the best of the 2-cost Baku Gear, which is to say the free Baku Gear, because it's giving you the most B power. But this will be directly usurped by another Baku Gear in Fusion Force, so don't count on it too strongly. Ventus Cyclonator is a 3-cost, plus 100, plus 1 damage. And when you play this, if you're in boost, plus 5 damage. But that's just for the turn, and it's just a damage boost, and its general boost is not worthwhile at all for 3 costs. Like, just in general, not a very good card, and like its effect is so late that it should be more impactful than that. Like a boost effect like this should be some big B power boost. It should be something that it should at least be permanent. Like I don't understand why this is on play. I don't understand why this isn't designed in a way where you could play it down earlier, and then when boost is online, it gets its real buff because it would be permanent. Like if this was a continuous effect instead of a triggered effect, static effect, sorry. It's called static effect in Bakugan, not continuous. But if it was a static effect, then whenever boost comes online, regardless of when you played this, it would get that effect and it would be in play for more turns. Now if it was just damage, it would still not be good, but it would be a lot better than it currently is. Stealth Thruster is 4 cost. When you play this, energize the top card of your deck uncharged and plus 400 B. This is very good. This basically replaces turn to energy, or becomes extra turn to energy if you want more 2-cost energizes. But basically, it's like you roll onto a gear reducing core, it's 2 energy, and it's giving you plus 400 B for later. When you're ramping that early, the B power isn't really a big factor because, like, 1, you are choosing to land on a worse B power core to get your ramp, and 2, you are spending your energy for the turn on ramp, so it is very easy for your opponent to overcome you. But this is like just strictly better ramp than turn to energy because it's the same cost, but it also gives you a permanent plus 400 buff to that Bakugan. So yeah, solid Baku Gear. Carnivore Claws, 4 cost, plus 100 B, plus 5 damage, and when you play this, choose a Bakugan to get minus 5 damage this turn. This gear I like quite a bit. It is a very good countermeasure to damage win strategies because you play this down for 2 or 4. Either is fine enough because like most of the even at 4 cost, like that's a similar cost to what most of the damage win stuff is paying, and you get a 10 damage differential. You get plus 5 damage on yourself and you get minus 5 damage on your opponent. 10 damage differential is typically enough to turn around, and on top of that, a lot of the gear reduction cores that decks tend to be Green Fists because of a lot of the good Bakugan right now and just have incidental Green Fists. So that's just what cores you have available to turn into gear reduction cores. So because of that, your gear if you go into a gear reduction core for this play, you're getting another extra 2 damage. So compared to normally, you are actually at a 12 damage differential. Very, very good anti-damage wins Baku Gear. It's been difficult to really fit this into anything in any of the formats since this came out, but it is a card that I like a lot. And if we had sideboards, this would go into sideboards super hard. Baku Mordor, this is 5 cost, sorry, becomes 3 with gear reduction. Gives plus 300B, plus 6 damage, and gives Shadow Strike. This is a much higher costed version of the Shadow Strike gears in Darkest, and as a result, I think it is not very worthwhile, especially since it's focused so much on the damage side of your stats rather than the B-Power side, which is where you typically tend to care when it comes to Shadow Strike, and Ventus in general. So, like, I don't think this is a very good card. I think its stat allocation is bad and it's too highly costed. But it is another Shadow Strike gear. So if you were building that sort of deck that wanted a bunch of Shadow Strike, wanted to get that consistently, and you were in Armored Elite format, this is the secondary gear you'd have to go with because the second Darkest one isn't available yet. And Ventus Channeler, similar to Hail Bracers from Chaos, this is the other big gear for cheating out. It's 10 cost for plus 1000B, plus 10 damage. Obviously not worth that cost, but if you cheat it out for free with stuff like the Kuzo and Aurelius Hydrus, then, you know, free for plus 1000, plus 10 is pretty solid. It's a fun card. On to character cards and evolutions. First up, we have Auxiliator, who cannot catch a break. So this is 306 with double shield, only hits 700, no good, no thank you. Centipod, shield and flaming fist, 306, hits the same stat line except it has a damage mode this time that there's better Bakugan. Ventus Dragonoid Core, this Bakugan is crazy good, crazy good. So, when I was talking about Darkest Cyrus Ultra, this is the Bakugan that I was referencing. So it is a 602 that comes with a Magic Shield and a Helix, which is honestly, a lot of the time, effectively the same thing as getting 2 Magic Shields. Like, in essence, it's very similar, not much meaningful difference. And its evolution is an absolute behemoth. So 5 cost, that's not real. 1200B and 7 damage. So it gets plus 600B plus 5 damage with the trifecta effect to become 3. So basically, as long as this is your finisher, which is the Bakugan that you roll last, so you only roll when your other 2 Bakugan have already won a battle, you will basically always have this trifecta effect online, which means this evolution is basically always free. In addition to that, it's a 5 cost, which means it works for the Fusion Force Sync stuff, and it procs stuff like Tusk Guard, and just hitting solid stat lines after that evolution and being free. It's free for plus 600, plus 5. Like 1250 isn't super impressive, but it's good enough. And like the minus damage part of that Helix, if that doesn't apply well to any of your other Bakugan, that's fine. Just put it on Drago because you're going to be rolling it last so that you can get that Evo out for free. And it has more than 3 damage. It has 4 damage, and it's going to be supported by your team attack anyways. So yeah, just very, very good Bakugan. This is really the go-to for Ventus for a lot of decks right now. Next up, Dragonoid Ultra. This is nothing notable. This is double shield 605, capped out at 1000. Just nothing impressive at all. So moving on from that, Cycloid, Flaming Fist, and Shield 602, capped out at 1000. Pate, Batrix Ultra, double Green Fist, 505, only hit 650. This will get an Evo in the next set, but we'll talk about that then. I believe so. I might be mistaken there, to be honest. Ventus Core. Comes with a Green Fist and Orange Shield, 307, not a very good stat line, counts out at 700, and has an evolution, it has 3 costs, that's not real, 808, and when another player plays a flip card, you may play this for free. That's a pretty cool evolution becoming free requirement, but it's still capped out at 1200, which means it's not doing anything. Core Ultra, Double Green Fist, 604, so it caps out at 750. And its evolution is 6 cost, 1007. When you play this, destroy Baku Gear. Why would you play a bad Bakugan with a high costed Evo for that effect when you have Entropic Touch, which blows up all Baku Gears? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. This isn't attached to a good enough Bakugan with a good enough Evo stat line that it would make sense for this to be like, oh, this is a freebie attached, that's why it has a high cost. No, that's not what's going on at all. It's just really bad. Ventus Hydrus, this has Helix and Flame Fist, 401, capped out 1,000 by zeroing out its damage. Hey, guess which Bakugan has an epic character card? Can you guess which Bakugan has an epic character card? I wonder, with these stats, could it maybe have an epic character card? Ventus Core, Green Fist and Orange Shield, 405, caps out to 800, nothing impressive. Ventus Ultra, if you don't need extra good cores, then this is a Bakugan you go for, because hey, Magic Shield, Green Fist, hits 1450, and guess what? It's a Nilius Ultra, which means it has that really, really good double core pickup potential. Like, Nilius Ultra is one of the molds with one of the best double core pickup potentials, so, you know, this is the one to go for if you want that. Ventus Core, 602 with double Green Fist, and its evolution is a whole lot of nothing. It's an 8 cost, 1510 with no effect. I am not paying 8 for 1650. No thank you. That's 150 above Hydrus in base. I don't think I'll be doing that. And Ventus Ultra, double Green Fist again, 702, only hits 850. Look, I know that I've said that Green Fists are pretty nice to have on Ventus Bakugan because of Stoneblade, but don't make it the Bakugan's only cores. Do something like Ventus Ultra AA or Ventus Serpentes Ultra. Those are better. Ventus Rairazu, right, I forgot Ventus has quite a number of decently notable Bakugan. So, Ventus Rairazu is Green Fist and Helix, 405, and on a Helix it gets -4 damage and plus 600 B. So, it zeroes out its damage super hard, but it hits 1600, which is, of course, a bit higher than Hydrus. Now, this is, of course, dealing no damage. And Ventus has some very, very viable options that don't zero out their damage. But this is the sort of Bakugan that would go well with that short Shadow Strike strategy. Now, overall, I think the more traditional not zeroing out their damage options are better. Especially something like Ventus Dragonoid, which is very, very good and evolves for free. After evolving for free, it is better than this. But if you're going to go for that sort of Shadow Strike strategy, this is of course an obvious pick. I just don't think that trade-off of having to build towards that is worthwhile, personally. Ventus Cyrus Ultra, double Green Fist, please stop. 701, gets +5 damage on a Green Fist that doesn't hit anything notable. That hits 9? Cool. Very impressive, hits 850 B, epic. No one asked. Ventus Ultra is Magic Shield and Orange Shield, 406, caps out at 1050, nothing impressive. Ventus Core, so this is Helix and Green Fist, 505, caps out at 1100. As an Evo for 4 costs that gets 1105. So it now caps out at 1700, and with the boost effect to get +5 damage and Shadow Strike. Yeah, really not impressive. Too highly costed for how little it's doing, to be quite frank. Just not very good overall. Shredder's Ultra, this is 702, Magic Shield and Orange Shield, caps out at 1350, but that's just not good enough. Several higher powered Bakugan in this faction. Ventus Trunks Core is Magic Shield and Green Fist and has 503. And its evolution is 3 cost, 805, and when you're in Trifecta, it gets +400. So it becomes 1200, which becomes 1850. Just okay. But considering its base stats and cores and comparing it to Ventus Dragonoid, is just Ventus Dragonoid completely outclasses this in every regard. Yeah, just not good enough because Ventus Dragonoid Core exists. And Ventus Trunks Ultra is double Flaming Fist and 505. Its evolution is a diamond at 6 cost, 1212. Only hitting like 750 in that base form, only hitting 11 damage, which is just like the most bog standard damage number ever. And its evolution is hitting what, 1450 for 6 cost? Like, that's not worth it. No, thank you. You're gaining 700B for 6 energy. Like, yeah, that's not worth it. Damage wise, there's much better stuff. And that's all. That is all of the Ventus stuff for Armored Elite. So, oh my god, I completely forgot to talk about what Ventus stuff is good. Okay, let's go through this quick. For actions, Windstorm is good for boost decks. It's just free nature's power. Entropic Touch is a solid card for killing a bunch of gear, though there aren't a whole lot of relevant, aren't a whole lot of decks to relevantly do that against right now. It's hard to justify it in a deck. Winston the Hungry is good if you're still running Titan Trunks Ultra because it's a 1-cost Winston. Ventus Smashers is the best speed power boosting free gear for now. Carnivore Claws is a good anti-damage winds card. Stealth Thruster is just replaces turn energy. It's a good ramp. Baku Mordor basically just is your second Shadow Strike card for now until next set. For Bakugan, we have Ventus Dragonoid and Ventus Maximus Dragonoid. 2 good cores, really good Evo, very good Bakugan overall. Other than that, we have Ventus Rairazu, the highest speed power in the game right now at 1600, but zeroes out its damage. And Ventus Nilius Ultra, which is a Nilius Ultra, which means it has very, very good double core pickup, and it hits 1450. It's the 1450 boy of Ventus. For dual cards, are there any? I think there are. I think there's a couple. Entropic Touch? No, Entropic Decay. These cards' names are too similar for having completely unrelated effects. Best damage reducer, like 1-cost damage reducer. So that's a thing you might want to consider. Nature's Wrath, good for a boost deck. 2000B for 7, pretty solid, pretty good. And if you want more consorts, if Glimmering Glaive isn't enough for you, rather than run consort, if you're paired with Chaos when you're running Ventus, having an Earth Strike is just the better thing to go for. With that said, guys, I will see you tomorrow for the last Armor Elite Baku Breakdown video on Aurelius. See you then, and this is Hunter Surge, signing off.